you're exactly right, man. And that whole hunt, like I was just, dude, you're right. Let's do it. Like staying motivated. And I myself try to, I'm younger. I'm 28 at the time, like decently fit, been hunting all year long. So I'm like, dude, this guy will tire out before I will. No chance. Eric's pushing 40 now. No chance. He was like, we were equals out there when we were hiking. I'm like, dang, man. Okay, so we get down there. It's sun's up now. It's like 11. We're to the meadow, and Eric's like, in my head, I'm like, what else is there left to do? And Eric's like, well, let's just walk up into the meadow. Let's walk into the meadow. I'm like, well, yeah, you're right. That's like the last thing we could possibly do down here. So we just start. Eric has his gun like this, and this is like the last possible move. So we're just walking into the meadow, and I start filming. I kid you not. Right when we get to the 200, like where we would have been previous, that 200-yard ridge, we start walking up, and here comes the bulls out of the trees. And there's a sweet, like 290, 300-inch 6-point coming out. And so I'm filming. I'm like, okay, shoot, here it goes.
Is up. Welcome back to the RedBeard Outdoors podcast. I'm Jonathan, your host. And today we have Logan Butler. You guys might recognize him from the Hush crew. He is now working with Ollin, does an amazing job on his videos, is awesome at marketing, and is a young guy that's getting after it and putting his talents, skills, and furthering his skills through work and just getting after, just grinding. And so I want to have Logan on. He came on to talk about the Nexus system with me from Ollin, and then we also followed up with doing an actual podcast focused on him. And he has such an amazing story to tell. So if you're into photography, videography, wanting to know a little bit behind the scenes of what is going on in a videographer's mind, or if you're looking to even work as an outdoor videographer, photographer, you're going to love this episode. If you're not into any of that or not looking to have a career in any of that, no worries whatsoever. You're going to love the stories that Logan has to tell. As you imagine, he has been with some amazing people out on some outstanding hunts. And he even tells a story of where he went with Eric Chesser from Hush, and they had like an Elmer Fudd moment, which is pretty hilarious. So we'll get into all of that. Before we get into the conversation, guys, I do want to remind you that you still have a couple days left to get into the amazing Hoyt Alpha X 33 bow package giveaway. It's a dozen arrows. It's a full bow, gray riser, black limbs, orange strings, 2 sets of strings, and Hamsky Epsilon rest, a dialed Arxos sight with a custom wrap on the sight housing. You're going to get the Go Sticks. You're going to get everything that you need to go and start shooting your bow with the dozen arrows from Victory and Wild Arrow. And if you're local here, Wild Arrow will even tune the bow, get it set up to you, and cut the arrows and get them right and ready for you as well. Along with that, my buddy over at Phorm and Phorm Outdoors, Jake, has thrown in the snack pack from Phorm, is what I'm calling it: meat sticks, protein bars, and energy drinks. So all you have to do to get entered is check out the link down below, get entered. The first entry is free if you follow all the instructions there. Next is, if you want bonus entries, every $10 spent on Phorm using the link down below will get you an extra entry. If you're local and want to go make a purchase over at Wild Arrow, use some of that money you got for Christmas, or if you are still looking to pick something up even last minute for Christmas or New Year's or whatever it may be, go into Wild Arrow, and every $20 spent gets you an extra entry over there. So go check it out, guys. I want to start 2025 off with a bang for someone as we give away this bow package. So go check it out, guys. Now let's get into this episode with Logan Butler. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the RedBeard Outdoors podcast. I'm Jonathan, your host, and today we have an amazing guest for you guys. We've got Logie Bear from Hush, Logan Butler. He is a young individual. I hate to say I'm young, even though I'm 32, but he's in his late 20s, almost hitting 30, and absolutely loving the outdoors. He's made a name for himself in the outdoors industry, but also working with people in the outdoors, such as Hush, and now at Ollin, as you guys are seeing here. And he joined me on the episode where we talked about the launch of the Nexus system, went over the different items there that are included in the Nexus system from Ollin. And now I kind of want to tell you guys his story. And I personally want to get to know the story a little bit, because I didn't know about who he was until over there at Hush, they were saying Logie Bear. I'm like, who the freak is letting them call them Logie Bear? Like, I was thinking it was some 6'3", big old burly guy that they like to help them keep warm while they were out on their late season hunts. No. So we've got,
it's not far from the truth,
So we've got Logan Butler here. He is now with Ollin Digiscoping, and we're here to figure out who Logan is. So Logan, who are you, man?
Well, I'm not a 6'3" burly bear guy that goes out on late season hunts to keep people warm. I am a 5'11" burly guy that likes to keep people warm out on late season hunts.
I'm sure your wife will love hearing that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Who is Logan? Well, I have been, like you were saying, you cut out a little bit there, but it cut back on when you were talking about me keeping dudes warm. I got in the industry 7 years ago. We were just talking about this on the last one. Kind of actually really right around the time that hunting really started getting big on YouTube. But I guess we could even go back before that. Like Jonathan RedBeard said, I was at Hush for 7 years, working alongside my brother, Casey, who is the one that founded and started Hush, and our other two partners, Brian and Eric. And if we want to really go back, I think it was 12 years ago. Talk about young. I think I was 18 or 19 years old, man. Like fresh out of high school, not really knowing what I was going to do for a career path. I always knew I wanted to do something in the outdoors. I was really into filming at the time because even before that, I had my own YouTube channel and I was a YouTuber from 2009 up until that point. And so I always knew I wanted to do something filming in the outdoors. And Casey actually had a YouTube channel as well, like a family vlog type channel that had been going on. And he wanted to start filming hunts. And so he asked me, he's like, what are you doing this summer? And I went and followed him around for like, freak, man, 2.5 months just doing hunts and filming them for him. We went around, did a couple elk hunts, couple deer hunts. I filmed him kill a Rocky Mountain sheep up on Willard Peak, over in your area, actually. And just kind of helped him film a bunch of, hunts and kind of helped him take him to the next level. He had started filming hunts, but just kind of like vlog style, little shots here and there. And I wanted to show him really like the art and beauty of storytelling through cinematography. Like you don't have to be talking to the camera, obviously every shot you can paint a story without words almost through different B-roll shots and sounds and stuff like that. So that's really where it all started, dude. I was 19 years old following Big Brother around. There was no like, you're hired or like I'm paying you. It was really just good opportunity for me to connect with my big brother and out on these hunts and film and help edit with him is really where it all started. Right when Hush it went from Hushin' with Levere to Hush back in 2012. But that's really where I started, man. And then after that, I kind of went and did my own thing. I went to college. Casey kind of kept up with it and actually, brought some partners on, brought Eric on first, and then brought Brian on. And they kind of started making it into a business. Meanwhile, I was off kind of doing my own thing for, I think, 4 years around that time. They started filming more hunts. Eric was filming his own hunts and putting it on the Hush channel, kind of all that. And then I came back into the picture 7 years ago and honestly just kind of went, they needed me for one hunt, for like a goose hunt. They had just let their previous camera guy go and needed a guy full time. And that's where I started. And that's kind of how I got into the industry. And then I just ran and did running and gunning for Hush, camera stuff, social stuff, some website stuff here and there, design, packaging, kind of all that for the last 7 years. And now here I am, dude, at Ollin.
There you go. I love it. That's awesome. And for some reason, I never realized you were Casey's brother.
It shakes a lot of people because, I kind of look more like Brad Pitt and he kind of looks more like Zach Galifianakis. I'm just joking.
So you guys are going to make the Pineapple
People really
Express
are
Hush
shocked.
version. Right.
We need to. We should at some point.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I honestly
But
didn't realize that, but that could be a good thing though too, because there's people out there, and mainly it's the jealous types, but the ones that would be like, oh well, you got it because your brother started Hush, whatever. But
sure,
honestly, it's something that you've very obviously earned, and anyone that knows anything about camera work, there's more than just being able to operate a camera body and a lens. There's a lot more about that. Because, like, if I handed a camera to 3 different individuals, you're going to get 3 different types of photos. And a lot of them are going to be out of focus or not just like, I don't know how to explain this, but basically, like, sucks being the one that's good with a camera sometimes, because like you go to tack, and I know you work with camera people now, so you don't really have to worry about that so much. But when you hand it to your buddies, even just a phone, you're like, hey, can you get some pictures of me? And
yeah.
you get it back, and you're like, thank you. It's just and then they get these epic
No,
shots that they're never going to use, and they just keep it for themselves,
exactly.
and then you get it back, and it's like, awesome.
Yeah, it's almost kind of a double-edged sword where there was a lot of moments towards my tail end there at Hush. I actually started doing more hunts, and a lot of them were self-filmed because I had been doing all of it for the last 7 years, and so Casey, Brian, Eric didn't never. Eric always kind of did, but never really stayed up to
Mhm.
date with camera technologies. So now I have this big Sony rig with a monitor and everything's manual from my ISO to my aperture to my shutter speed. And I hand a camera like that to Casey and he goes, "What the heck is this?" So it's almost
Exactly.
like you want to clone yourself to be able to film hunts. But no, you're exactly right. I mean, that is kind of a big thing. I never really got a bunch of that to my face, anyways. People being like, "Oh, dude, you're only there because your brother." But I really kind of grew up with that all my life.
Mm,
Um, so oldest brother, I have another brother, looks a lot like Casey, kind of shorter. He is the one that launched really this whole YouTube platform for all of us back in 2009, where he was able to do it full time and make money off of YouTube. And he's the one that Casey truly owes credit to for saying, "Hey man, like if you could do anything in the world and get paid for it, what would it be?" And Casey obviously said, "Well, I love hunting. Like I would love to be in the hunting industry." And Shay kind of painted the way. He's like, "Well, do it and film it." And there's this new thing called YouTube that'll pay you to do it.
mhm.
So even before I was with Hush, I was doing YouTube and really kind of, I think I grew my channel to like 430,000 subscribers, just
That's awesome.
filming stuff of me with my friends. And I did that for like 6.5 years. But even before, I always kind of got that where it's like, "Oh, dude, you're only big on YouTube because of Shay, your older brother." So I've kind of dealt with that my whole life.
That's
And
frustrating,
same
man.
thing at Hush. Yeah, it's like they really, and the crazy thing that I always like to look back on is Casey isn't even the one that really truly offered me the full-time job there. It was Brian
Mm,
that was like that they had had to let their cameraman go. I won't go into that, but he
yeah.
essentially was fired, and they were in serious need of a cameraman. And Brian's the one that clicked in his head. He was like, "Well, dude, Logan was there when you started all of this. He was there
Mm,
that really helped take your videos honestly from point and shoot stuff to that next level, that cinematography, that good film quality type stuff." And Casey's like, "I never really thought about that." And that's when they offered me the job. And it can seem like that from the outside perspective, but honestly and truly, Hush really did change a lot, from the time I started there to the time I ended. And luckily, the transition from Hush to Ollin was really good with everybody. But, I still get that to this day from Brian, from Eric, from Casey when they say things to me like, "Dude, your fingerprints are truly all over this brand. Like, we can never thank you enough from taking us from there to here."
I got you. Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, it can be, there are individuals that ride coattails, and I think that that's very obvious. But also, again, kind of going back to the point I was making earlier, is that you can tell with the work that you do, And honestly, a lot of times cameramen don't get the credit I feel like they deserve, and that most of them are okay with that because they like to be behind
Yeah.
the scenes and doing the work. And they, for them, for most camera people that I know that work in a professional way or with companies or whatever, they don't want their name plastered all over it. They just appreciate a good reference every once in a while, but they don't need the fame because they're like, you know what, my end product is a trophy enough for me, knowing that X amount of people are viewing it on YouTube or wherever it is that it's posted online, or etc. I could definitely tell the quality of work is there. You do an amazing job, and I didn't realize you had a channel before then. But I mean, growing a YouTube channel to you know what'd you say, 430,000 followers or
Yeah, I
subscribers?
think at my peak, it was right around there.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, I'm struggling getting
Yeah.
to 3,200 that I'm sitting at right now in just 2 years. I can't imagine 435,000 people. That's a lot of people. I mean, that can fill how many stadiums of people that are
Phew.
subscribed to a channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So,
Yeah.
but that's awesome. So you what I guess once you got in with Hush, and you were building your brand before then, you got in with Hush and you were working with them. How did you stay up on, is it a lot of, did college help? Is it a lot of personal studying and use and all that? How did you stay up to date on all the editing and everything that you have to do on a regular basis?
Truly, man, I would say it's a combination of things. Like throughout high school and in college, I took, film classes, photography
Mm-hmm.
classes, and you really learned the formulas and basics. But besides that, once I had a good idea of what the formula was between shutter speed, ISO, and exposure, once I had all that down, the rest I would say was just a culmination of just staying passionate and having people to look up to. At a pretty young age, I used to be really into snowboarding, and I would always get excited about Travis Rice's films, and then Brain Farm's films, and all of these new backcountry snowboarding films that would come out. And that's truly how I would stay up to date. Is I would have mentors and people I really looked up to, and just constantly be watching their work. That combined with repetition through just doing it. Like I bet you I cut over 900 to 2,000 videos from the time I was
Wow.
started really taking it serious till the end of Hush. It was just getting those reps in, man. Getting those
Yeah.
reps in. And then another kind of crazy thing to think about is I always feel like the hunting industry has been behind just a little bit comparatively to other media sources or other niches. So staying up to date with those other niches, kind of seeing how they're doing videos, and then bringing that to the hunting industry, it was like, whoa, what is this new? What is this new graphic? What is this new transition? It just that's really how I would say I stayed up to date. Is just staying passionate, watching the stuff that I thought was cool, and then getting those reps in.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, for sure. That's awesome. And yeah, putting your own twist on things, because again, you watch, your stuff that you've put out, and then you watch the stuff from the previous camera guy, and then you watch stuff from, another guy that I really enjoy watching would be Pedro Ampuero. I don't know if you know his stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but dude, he like
Yeah.
his camera guy, however he puts it together is cool, but also like Pedro's style is very interesting. And there's always this dynamic mix of between the cameraman and the person in front of the camera on how you tell a story. And sometimes it's the cameraman asking for or doing B-roll shots without even being asked, just going out and saying, hey, this is what, like you said, this is what I think would look cool. So I'm going to put it in here because I think that this shot of us driving the razor down the road is an awesome picture, and this is another great thing. And that makes, in my opinion, those kind of things make an even greater cameraman, because I know for me, just in the little things that I have started to do with photography, and even having the little action cam on my shoulder, or doing time lapses of cleaning an animal or things like that. And sometimes I forget, so then I don't end up doing it. So I can imagine the people in front of the camera don't always ask you for the things that you end up doing in the long run, because you just kind of take that on. And again, that's what makes you a great cameraman. Am I understanding
Yeah.
that's how it goes.
Yeah. To me, man, like I got in such a flow with those guys where it was no questions asked. The biggest mark, I think, truly of a cameraman filming in the hunting industry is to be able to go out there and the person that's hunting or the people that are involved, the characters
Mm-hmm.
or whatever that are in the video, don't have to worry about anything. Their only goal out there is to hunt. That's the only thing they're
Mm-hmm.
focused on. And the cameraman takes care of the rest. And that's truly kind of where it got towards the end. Like my last 3-4 years filming there was like they were never worried. Like, oh, did we get this shot? What is this going to look like? It was truly like, dude, you got this. Go out and film it. And I think that's what really makes a cameraman great and gets his style developed, kind of like what you're saying, is they just handle all of it. And the person that's hunting can truly focus on hunting and not worry about
Yeah.
all of that other noise.
Yeah, having to set up certain shots and doing certain things so that you can get, you know, whether it be partner shots or things like that. I think that's where good, clear communication, but also, like you said, building that kind of workflow with the people that you're working with. I could see that being a little difficult working with someone that maybe you hire for just a hunt. You have to be very
Yeah.
clear about kind of things that you're wanting, or even watching, you know, something else too. If you're out there looking to hire a cameraman, watch their work, what they've put out, who they've worked with in the past, and see if that matches the style that you want. Um, you know, for your filmed hunt, whatever it may be. Maybe it's the hunt of a lifetime. Maybe you're wanting to start a YouTube channel and you guys are looking to start a partnership in that way. But all of that, you know, being said, it's definitely, I could see it being a very fluid thing that you learn and you grow together, especially when you're working with people as big as Hush.
100%, man. And I like going back to kind of what you were saying earlier about, a lot of these camera people in the industry aren't worried about fame or getting their name out there. Truly, that is your resume, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
all of the videos that you've cut and that are on, YouTube or on a film somewhere, that is your resume. And thinking back, kind of like when you said that, it's like, yeah, dude, like I can go back and look at videos that, don't have my name all over them, but it's like, that's my finished product. That will forever be there.
Exactly. No, that's awesome. So you worked with Hush. What are some of the things, I guess, that you, while you were at Hush, that you picked up? Maybe some of the most, give us maybe a most memorable hunt, because obviously you went on a ton of them in those 7 years or however long you were at Hush. And so favorite hunt, and then maybe two things that you learned that maybe people that watch the Hush YouTube channel wouldn't necessarily know just from looking. And I'm not looking for, you know, bad things. I'm just saying things that you learned
The
while you were
dirt.
with those guys. Yeah, no, definitely. I couldn't care less about
Yeah.
that crap. I'm
There's
definitely
no
not in the
dirt.
click. Yeah, I'm not in the clickbait business, that's for sure. But yeah, no, I just,
Yeah,
you
man.
know, think your favorite hunt with them, most memorable hunt, and then 2 to 3 things that you learned while you were at Hush that made you either a better hunter, better cameraman, or both, and has improved your career up to this point.
Shoot, dude. It's hard to think of like your favorite hunt. Obviously, like you were saying, we did a lot. Like even looking last year, I was gone from home, either traveling or on a hunt for 132 days last year. So there's a lot. There's a lot of them. I'll do this, man. I'll say my favorite hunt with each person. For Eric, I think my most favorite memorable hunt was a solo hunt that just me and him did. It was a late season rifle elk hunt, and this was actually January of 24. So we were out there in southern Arizona for 15 days, I think, just me and EC Money hunting together. It was one of the most hardest grinds of a hunt I think I had ever been a part of. That film is live right now on the Hush channel. It's Eric's most recent giant, but it was a grind, dude. We went out. It was like a 12-hour drive, just me and Eric, his truck, and a jumping jack. And we went out. We got out 2 days before the hunt. Where we're camped at is 50 miles from any town, truly in the middle of nowhere. In this hunt unit, scouted the 2 days before the hunt. And dude, we went 8 or 9 days without seeing the target animal. Like, talk about a kick in the gut. 8 or 9 full days of grinding. This is something I would say, to answer kind of your second question with this, something that people don't truly, I think, understand, which is totally fine, is that these guys, seriously, they do grind. Like, this is another weird thing. This was probably the first hunt I'd ever been on, Eric, with my 7 years there, where it truly was just me and him. It was just me and him. It was his tag. He's calling the shots. And like I said earlier, my job is to be there, tell the story, and not infringe upon what he thinks the hunt should be. Right. That man, for those 9 days, we're talking up at 4 a.m., not going to bed till probably 11 at night, day after day after day. Whether it was snow, I think day 4, day 5, big snowstorm came in, and, wake up, alarm goes off, 4 o'clock, cold in the jumping jack. Look outside. I'm like, dude, it's snowing bad. He's like, well, we can't kill him if we're not out there. So literally this grinding with Eric from those first 9 days, not seeing a single legal bull in our unit. I think we had seen a cow and a calf. And Eric kept holding on to that. He's like, dude, well, we did see that cow and calf. I'm like, sick, bro. We did see that cow and calf day one. You're right. But we haven't seen any bulls. And I knew, like, that being my first hunt with Eric, I'm like, I truly do want to take, because they do ask my opinion a lot. And, like, what would you do? Like, where do you think we should go? Like, what are your thoughts on this? And I truly wanted to take a back seat and just let him do whatever he thought was the right call. And so for those first 9 days, not seeing a single bull, he never once lost, like, any motivation, drive, anything like that. Like, we're out there to kill a big bull, and damn it, we're going to do it. And I truly enjoyed it just because of the suck was so bad. I truly did enjoy it, just sitting back like, oh, I wonder where he thinks we should go today, To finally, I think it was day 12, we found some bulls in this deep, dark canyon. And they weren't even like giant bulls, but one was a really broken up, probably 310 type bull, like good bull, but just broken off his main beam on his right. His lefts were all sheared, and Eric was excited about him. And I don't even think it was because of the first bull we seen. Eric was just so excited that he had that true late season bull rugged look to him. And we hiked down. Eric got a couple shots off, and this is all in the film. But clean misses, never hit him good, never wounded him or anything like that. And the bull ran off. And dude, Eric wanted to drop down. And this is the first time I put my foot down in the hunt. Eric wanted to drop down the canyon. Keep in mind, we're already 3 miles of a hike in past the truck. And now there's this big, deep, gnarly canyon. It'd be like another 4 miles to get where those bulls ended up, dropping like 1,400 foot of elevation. It's late season. Sun's going to set here in 3.5, 4 hours. I finally was like, nah, dude, I don't think we should do that. So pulled him off the reins on that one. And big hike back to the truck, still like an 1.5-hour drive up the unit to get back to our main camp. And dude, never lost motivation one time. Not a single time. And then there days 10 and 11, nothing. 2 days left in the hunt, day 12 and day 13. And Eric wants to do a 3-hour drive, leave the jumping jack on the northern end of the unit, but do a super long drive. I don't remember how long it was, all the way to the southern end of the unit and stay in his truck, sleep in the truck. So bivvy style, like we're going to squeeze every last drop out of this hunt. And, if we go home empty handed, it's not for lack of trying. Mm-hmm. Go all the way down to the southern end of the unit, spend the majority of the morning driving down there, get down there, and we get out. It's like a 2-mile hike down to this area he wants to get to. We get down there, and finally, like, we can hear tines tinkling. He kept saying, it sounds like tines tinkling. I'm like, that's such a weird word to describe that noise. But, like, we hike down into these junipers. It's like midday. We have the rest of today and tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last day of the hunt. And there's this giant blizzard coming through. So that's in the back of our minds. Like, it's got to happen now or tomorrow morning, or it's not going to happen. There's no way we're going to stay out in this blizzard. So we get down there. We hear like antlers, like late season
Fangs
bulls, not
tingling.
fighting, but kind of just, tinkling. And so we're jacked. We're super jacked. I mean, the only other bull we saw was the one he shot at 2 days previous, and that was it. Now we're hearing bulls.
Well,
We
let me
start
just
slowly
let me
walking
say
down.
this real quick. So if no one's been out, or if you've never been out on on a late season hunt, when there's snow on the ground, it is dead quiet. If there's no wind, like it is eerily quiet when there's snow on the ground. You can hear tines tinkling, like he's saying. Again, I don't know a better way to describe that, but you can hear the smallest of sounds from a good distance away. So just kind of picture that as well. If you haven't ever been out in a late season hunt with snow on the ground and you're only used to like September where you have crunchy everything, it is like dead freaking quiet. Anyway, keep going.
Eerily quiet, almost like you're saying. And keep in mind, this is day 10. We're feral at this point. Like our senses are to the max, The only time we're in a warm shelter is in dark hours, and that's back at the jumping jack. So anything going on, we're super in tuned with our surroundings at this point. And so we sneak down, and I pull up my binos, and I can see 2 bulls. There's 2 bulls at 500 yards away, and Eric sees them, and we get jacked, and we're all stoked. And Eric's like, at this point, we got to go. We're moving. We're going to, close some distance because we didn't want to shoot at 500-600 yards. And there was another rise that would put us right at 200. So we buggy, we're running. And we're just about to get up on that rise where those bulls would be at 200. We didn't even get a super good look at what they were. We just knew they were bulls. Mm-hmm. Just right before we get up to this ridge where we should be 200 yards away, we bust this herd of cattle. So there's cattle now running towards the elk. We get up, and of course the bulls are gone. There's this beautiful meadow where they were, and my guess is they either ran up into the junipers or they ran directly away from the cattle and dropped down. And there's this huge, giant, long drop off all the way down to the river bottom where they could have gone. So we were way up here, and now we're way down here emotional wise. And we ended up, Eric's like, well, dude, either way, if they ran down to the bottom or they just ran into those junipers, they are our bulls, and we got to stay here and figure it out. So we went and kind of set up like 400 yards away in this other patch of trees, and our plan that evening was to go back to the meadow, play the wind right, and just sit. Hopefully, by chance, they did go into the junipers. They're going to feed out again tonight. And we sat there all night long until the sun went down and it was black, and they never came out. And so we had another 2-mile hike back up to the truck, kind of quiet, with that big giant storm coming in on the last day, the next day, kind of looming in the back of our minds. We get up to the truck, and Eric's like, man, and I'm thinking in my head, because there's so many of these occurrences, I'm thinking in my head, like, this guy's got to give up at some point. At some point, he's going to be like, well, we tried, pack it up. We've got 16-hour drive in front of us. Like, let's just get out of here. Storm's coming, all that. And we're sitting there just in the bed of his truck with the camper shell. And he's like, man, like, I think we need to go out there again tomorrow morning. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, like, we'll go do a morning hunt. We'll go back. We'll make that 2-mile hike to the meadow, see if they're there. And if they're not, then we'll call it. Storm's coming in. We got to get out of this unit. We're the only, and there's only 6 other hunters in this unit. We had met each of them, and I was in reaching with them all. And confirmation, me and Eric are the only humans in this giant hunt unit. We are the only ones there still holding on. And so I'm like, sure, man. So the next morning, we go down, nothing. And you got to commit to it. There's a big drop off to get down to the meadow. So we're glassing the next morning, nothing, where we'd seen him the day previous. And I was like, man, that sucks, dude. And Eric's like, I know you don't want to, or he's like, I know it's probably not a smart decision, but I think we go down to that meadow, dude. And I'm like, bro, okay, I'm going to just bring this up one more time. Giant blizzard blowing in. We're the only ones left out here, and these roads suck, RedBeard. These roads out there are not good. If they get wet, it's just a sloppy clay mess. We have early sunset, late season, blizzards coming in, even if we hiked back directly to the truck now, we might be able to get to the jumping jack before dark. It's on the north end of the unit. And I'm like, you know what? And this is all internal monologue. I'm like, I've been backseat this whole time just to see how crazy this guy is. Yeah, Eric, I agree. Let's go down there. So we go down there. And I'm thinking in my head, man, at this point, I almost hope we don't kill a bull because we are totally screwed if we do kill a bull.
Well,
We're,
real quick,
2
too,
miles
guys,
from the truck.
If you guys have never seen Eric like outside of YouTube, he definitely stays in shape, but he's not the biggest human being. You wouldn't think he hikes fast. That dude is a mountain goat. Like I have
swear he
watched him.
floats.
Yeah, I've watched him on a mountain during the late season. I happened to run into him at a trailhead that we were both. I was going up for elk. He was going up for deer, and I was blown away watching him float across this snow that was probably knee deep. I'm like, how in the freaking heck? And it blew my mind. So I'm picturing that as you guys are out there, you know, hiking and going into this deep stuff. Like he definitely comes off as one of those guys. He's very driven. He does not do this for YouTube. He does it because he is very passionate about it and wants to accomplish a goal. When he sets his mind to it, he puts everything into it.
You're exactly right, man. And that whole hunt, like I was just, dude, you're right. Let's do it. Like staying motivated. And I myself try to, I'm younger. I'm 28 at the time, like decently fit, been hunting all year long. So I'm like, dude, this guy will tire out before I will. No chance. Eric's pushing 40 now. No chance. He was like, we were equals out there when we were hiking. I'm like, dang, man. Okay, so we get down there. It's sun's up now. It's like 11. We're to the meadow, and Eric's like, in my head, I'm like, what else is there left to do?
Mm-hmm.
And Eric's like, well, let's just walk up into the meadow. Let's walk into the meadow. I'm like, well, yeah, you're right. That's like the last thing we could possibly do down here. So we just start, Eric has his gun like this, and this is like the last possible move. So we're just walking into the meadow, and I start filming. I kid you not. Right when we get to the 200, like where we would have been previous, that 200-yard ridge, we start walking up, and here comes the bulls out of the trees. And there's a sweet, like 290, 300-inch 6-point coming out. And so I'm filming. I'm like, okay, shoot, here it goes. I don't know how this is happening, but it's happening. We're here in the meadow, walking with a gun, and here comes the bull. And so he throws his rifle up, and I'm filming over his shoulder. I'm in tight on this bull, and Eric goes, no, to the left, to the left. And so I pan over to the left, and it's like this raggy 5. And I go, you sure? And it's quiet, and I'm like, I really hope he doesn't shoot that bull. And he looks back at me and like kind of nudges me. He's like, no, keep going left. And I pan to the left, and here's this like 370 bull. Just, I didn't even know he was on the playing field. I thought we were dealing with 2 bulls, but here comes this 370 bull at 70 yards, walking directly into the sun. We had played it that I know we're going to walk into the meadows, but we're still going to try to walk in the shadows, walking right towards us. And Eric freehands this giant bull at 70, 80 yards, somewhere right in there, and drops him. Smack. And I got emotional because it was truly, he wanted that moment so bad that he was willing to literally squeeze everything out of that hunt. And the dude got paid off. Like it was such amazing. An epitome of like pay the man, he did all of this, like I'm right there. So I know the suck because I've been hiking all these miles with him every day, going through storms, not seeing any elk, to freehanding a 370 bull at 80 yards. Like what?
Yeah.
So yeah, insane. I would say that was probably one of my most memorable hunts, man. Just the amount of suck that it took, but the reward was just as great. And we got up to the bull, got a lot of really good video. Like we were both beyond freaking out, like day 13 or whatever it was out in the sticks. And now we're sitting over this giant and broke the bull down. We got him out in 2 trips. So first trip, I think we weighed our packs, and I think we each had like 135 to 145 pounds. And literally on the first pack out, the snow started coming. And it's like, well, we knew this was going to happen. Like we signed up, get back, turn around, and we're going back for, I think there was another hind quarter, some back strap, and the head and cape. And so we get back and it's full fledged. We went from no snow to 6 inches of snow. And it was like some of the most epic footage and photos ever of Eric putting that big bull on his back. I have the last quarter in the back straps, and it's just sideways blizzard status. Finally get back to the truck. It's dark now. And I couldn't really capture this because of how real it truly was. Getting back to the truck, pitch black now. Even just to get out of where the truck was parked at was this super steep road. We have like 9 to 10 inches of fresh snow now. The roads are muddy. It took us, I think, 4 hours to get from where we were all the way back up. We got the truck stuck multiple times, like serious stuff. Get back to the jumping jack, and now it's like midnight, and Eric's like, dude, we need to get out of this unit. We need to get everything packed up and moved. Like, we need to get out of here tonight because we could get stuck. So midnight, bone tired from packing 8 miles, 2 of the times with meat on the back, pushing the truck out, getting it unstuck. And now it's midnight. We're back at the jumping jack. And now we're packing up all of that camp, trying to get out of there. Now it's 1:30 in the morning. Snow has not let up whatsoever. I'm in-reaching dudes that were out there that live next to town. I'm like, hey, if we get stuck, we're going to try to make the drive tonight. Like all of that. But got everything packed up, drove, and we landed at a hotel, I think, at 4 o'clock in the morning. So that was a 24-hour day.
Golly.
That was, I would say, the most memorable hunt total the whole time I was there.
Well, I'm glad you guys got out of there. I mean, that getting your truck stuck is a hopeless feeling. That's a feeling that you don't like to hear your tires spinning, and so many things can happen like that, whenever you're out there in nasty weather. So it's really good you guys got out of there, but that's really cool. You should have dubbed it over and be like the Elmer Fudd, walking through the meadow. Be very
joke, right?
Yeah, be very, very quiet. We're hunting rabbits.
That's how it felt, dude. That's exactly how it felt. I'm like, what do you think is going to happen? But exactly that. A bull's going to walk out at 70. I mean, I guess there's a chance, and that's what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is
that's awesome.
Super, super wild.
That's, and that really is squeezing everything that you can out of a hunt. I mean, that's pretty crazy. But awesome. I mean, most people probably in their lifetime won't even see a 370 bull, let alone put one on the ground. That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. So that unit was in Puerto Rico, right? Okay.
Yeah, Costa Rica, actually. Very common misconception.
Yes, Costa Rica. Yeah. The far north territories of Costa Rica on the east coast of it.
Yeah. You need to put in, you can't draw unless you put in.
Take a charter boat to it, Oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome. No, well, that's really cool. I'd say that's definitely a memorable hunt. It makes me wonder what he would have done if you hadn't been there.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It turned out to be a really good film. It's funny. You'll have to go watch that now, hearing like everything that actually happened and watching it line up. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. No, that's really cool.
But that's what I would say is I learned from Hush is that, I mean, on the gram, all you see is our first picture we post is like Eric holding the bull, and everybody's like, oh, here we go, like, easy. But you don't get to see that 14 days of suck. I would say that what people don't know is that there is a lot of work and effort that goes into a lot of those hunts. Yeah. Like and that goes for Casey, that goes for Brian. Like I've been there obviously on, some of the biggest stuff that Hush has killed. And you never truly can capture everything that it takes for those moments to happen, and, preparation and opportunity to cross. Where if you're from the outside looking in, you just see these big bulls, big bucks, whatever on the gram, and you're like, oh, like private or must be nice, or like you're getting the good tags. There truly is a lot of suck that's involved to get to those points.
Yeah, no, for sure. And, and I think that comes from the older people that are, known in the industry. There's some companies out there that definitely stage a lot of things and are known for flying deer in and shooting the biggest deer because they've flown them in and dropped them off on the ranch kind of
Yeah.
deal. Like all of that kind of stuff floats around. And when you see people like the Hush crew that have that success, it can be hard to, to believe that that's real. But at the same time, I mean, it
Yeah.
literally is like people work so hard for retirement and for a pension and for a whatever. Like, imagine putting all of that effort into hunting. And that's what these guys do. I mean, that
Yeah.
really is their lifestyle: hunting, fishing, getting outside. That's what they've turned their 9 to 5 into a 24-hour, 7-day a week job that they live.
And
Um,
it's not all back straps and trophy shots, man.
mhm.
That's
Yeah.
the other thing that is too is I get that question a lot is like, what can I do to, get in the industry? And my answer is always, you know, keep it as a hobby as long as you can before it becomes a job. Because it truly does become a job at some point.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's just like with archery, you don't go and buy a bow shop so you can get into the archery world, because then you'll never shoot your bow. You're shooting everyone else's bow
Exactly.
and tuning everyone else's stuff and helping everyone else. I joke with Jeremiah up there at Wild Arrow about that all the time. I'm like, dude, do you even have a bow set up for season? It's like 3 days before
Yeah,
season. He's like, no, like we didn't have any in stock, so I had to sell my bow to a customer. And I'm like, what are you gonna hunt with? Like, like,
exactly.
and yeah, it's just one of
Exactly.
those. It's one of those things. So I'd agree with that. Keep it a hobby, and you may not want to get into the industry once
Yeah.
you learn about the industry a little bit more. It seems very big, but it is very small. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that definitely can make or break your future, and you don't want to ruin your hobby, your passion for the outdoors. If you're in it for the money, definitely the wrong reason to be in the hunting industry or the outdoors industry. You've got to do it because you love it.
100%.
So no, that's awesome. And with that being said, you're at Ollin. So again, you've been doing this for basically a decade at this point. Probably longer than that if you include your own videos and your own YouTube channel and everything. What
Yeah.
what do you guys have, or what made you want to move to Ollin? Like, obviously Nate's a cool dude. They've got great ideas. They're great company. Highly recommend anyone going over and looking for a digiscoping system to check it out. And even if you already have one, just go ahead and do yourself a favor and upgrade, get the All-In system.
Yeah.
I'll just say that, but
You'll be
but
glad you did.
yeah, exactly. And there's so many cool things coming down the pipeline that just you guys will be going blown away at what All-In has going on. But other than the cool gadgets and Nate being a cool dude, what took you to All-In?
I'll tell you this, man. I think it was a culmination of things, really. It was never any like maliciousness or like falling out between me
Mm-hmm.
and the guys. Honestly, it was just, I think the biggest thing for me moving to All In was the opportunity for growth.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, I had hour long conversations with the guys individually and as a team about this kind of decision to move here full time. It really was like truly it just I felt like I kind of hit the roof. I
Mm-hmm.
kind of hit my cap at Hush where, I the filming, the editing, the hunt films, the social, everything. Like I felt like I all had that pretty well dialed. And I was, really kind of at my max. There wasn't really any room for growth into a position for me there at Hush. Like I was definitely very well compensated for my work and what I was doing, and the guys really
Mm-hmm.
appreciated me and what I was doing. But I wanted to kind of expand. It never feels good to be 28 years old and feel like, well, there's no more room to go. You've kind of
Yeah.
maxed out your position in your career, and that it kind of shook me. I had long talks with the guys months and months before I even started here. I was like, well, like, do you think there's anything else we need or anything else I can grow into or kind of help? And it truly was like, well, dude, you crushed the videos, you crushed the photos, social's great. Like, dude, you're doing everything we need you to do, man. And I was on the phone with Nate talking. I had a moose tag, and me and Nate would talk frequently just about kind of what was going on, what was up. And he was asking me about how my moose hunt was going, if I was seeing any big bulls. We were talking about that, and he started kind of talking about they were using a company before to kind of run all of their marketing stuff. So email lists, ads, basically all of their marketing stuff, and videography as well. And he was asking me if I knew anybody that, kind of had a video photo background, but also marketing background as well. And we were looking to bring everything in-house at Ollin. And I had this like gut intuition almost kind of hit me where it's like, dude, Logan, you've been worrying about growth as who you are, what you can do, and your skill set. And here's this guy, obviously saying, do you know anybody that can do all this? And it just kind of clicked in my head without even really thinking. I go, dude, do you think I could fit that position at all? And almost instantly, he's like, dude, I've never really thought about that before. Like, are you sure? Like, moving jobs? Like, is everything good? I go, yeah, and I kind of expressed to him, I was like, dude, I'm looking for growth. I'm looking to kind of, start mastering something else besides just the cameraman stuff. And he goes, absolutely. Like, absolutely. You would be the perfect fit. Like, I'm looking for somebody just like you. And so through a lot of talks with the guy, it was always like super transparent. Like, you guys, like, it's going to be a hard move, but I truly feel like this is my career path. Like, I need to go into something where, it's not Big Brother's company, or, I'm not known as just the cameraman. Like, I'm not sure I want to be 50 years old following dudes around in the woods filming them. I might want to be doing something else. I want to have more options. And through a lot of conversations with those guys, like, it all came back unanimously, like, man, like, it sucks and we're really going to miss you and we're going to feel it, when you leave. We're going to have to kind of pick up the pieces, but truly it does sound like exactly what you need to do. And so that's truly what, made me want to move from one company to the other. And the nice thing is Hush is very invested in Ollin. Hush actually owns a portion of Ollin. And so it's not like I was going to a company that was going to be a rival company or somebody that's doing something else. Like, we still get to work together on a lot of things. So a culmination of growth. I'm not going to be totally leaving the guys at Hush. I'm still going to be able to do things with them. And then an opportunity for new and more, I would say, is the reason I wanted to make the jump.
Gotcha. I thought you were going to say that last hunt with Eric was it. That was your final straw. Okay.
That's what I should have said. I should have said, you know what, guys, I'm done with this.
It's over.
But, yeah. The funny thing is I think that I would go, if I had the ability to, I would go do that same exact hunt, exactly how it played out every 5 years, do it once for the rest of my life, because it was a dang good wake-up call.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Just to everything.
Yeah.
There's so many similarities to life in that hunt.
Oh yeah. But no, that's awesome. And yeah, again, going back to the industry small, right? Hush is tied in with Ollin, and and SheepFeet work together a lot. There's a lot of companies that are all kind of tied in with the outdoors industry, basically from the relationships that are built that way. So it's really cool to know. And honestly, I work with Phorm, and at Phorm, Andy Frisella talks about this a lot, where a good boss will either recognize your value and provide an opportunity for growth, or recognize that there is no other opportunity that he can provide as the boss, and will say, yes, take that next opportunity. It's going to suck that you leave, but you're definitely worth more. You've hit your cap, and they can provide you a better opportunity. And Andy Frisella talks about that a lot, that he has those conversations with people, and it sucks to see him leave, but at the same time, it's kind of a source of pride of like, I was able to be a part of their career growth to this point, and now they have this better opportunity that I can't provide them. I literally cannot provide that for them. So I'm happy to see that they have that elsewhere. I feel like that's very similar to what you're explaining. The guys over there, at least the experience I've had, Eric's probably the one that I talk to the most. They all seem to be like really good guys over there. And so I could see that going really well and being amicable, kind of a parting of ways in a way. But at the same time, that growth factor is definitely something that you want to be able to have to hone some other skills other than, being a cameraman, which in and of itself takes a lot. But when you have when you've earned and gained so much experience up to this point, you definitely have other opportunities in marketing and other tools that you have under your tool belt that can help other companies grow as well. So
100%, man. Yeah,
yeah,
and you hit the hammer, you hit the nail on the head with that, dude. That's exactly what it was. Is they recognized that it was the best path for me, and they truly are awesome to be able to see that, you know.
yeah, exactly. Well, sweet. Well, um, I guess, is there anything else that we haven't hit on that you'd like to talk about? I mean, you're 29, I guess, and if there's not anything else that you want to hit on, give some advice to the guys that are just getting into photography, videography, or marketing, and how they can build their resumes in a way that isn't as it's not as laid out in front of you as going and putting a resume together and putting it on Indeed, or
Yeah,
a job or LinkedIn, right? How do you build a resume as a young person trying to get into creating their hobby into the career that they can love and enjoy and pursue for the rest of their life?
I would say this, man. I would say the biggest thing that you could do is find your passion, find a way to get that passion to turn some dollars, and then if there's people out there already doing what you want to do it for free,
Mm.
because that's like exactly what I did with Casey at the first for that 4 months or 5 months where I went and helped him film a bunch of hunting videos. It truly was an experience to see what the process was like, what it took, and what
Mm.
it could be. And a lot of people, I get that question asked to me a lot at different expos and stuff is how do I get paid for this? How do I get a job for this? And truly the answer is just start doing it. That goes miles and miles for companies. Like if you want to become a photographer, find some brands you want to work with and just start taking photos of their products and sending them to them without them asking. Build your resume that way. Just start doing the things like they are paying you to do, build up a resume and then submit it. I think that speaks miles, especially in this generation. Instead of having your hand out asking, have your hand out giving, and that'll speak volumes for who you are as a person and what you can provide in the future.
I love it. Yeah, it's definitely and I keep bringing up Andy, but he talks about value exchange, and that's hitting exactly what you're saying. Of instead of going in and saying give me, what can you give me? You go in and start saying, hey, this is what I could provide to you. And
Yep.
a lot of the guys out there, like yourself, or other people that are doing a really good job out there in the YouTube world, in the hunting industry, a lot of them had 9 to 5s, had jobs, and they grinded when they weren't working or on PTO. That's how they would spend their PTO, and they didn't just quit a job and hope to make money. If you're in it, again, if you start with the mindset of I need to make money, that puts a pressure on you that companies can feel, and they don't like that pressure,
Mhm.
because if they're already established, they're not going to sit there and be like, oh yeah, let's just go ahead and pay this kid that we don't know nothing about. you know it's definitely important to go and test the waters, but don't leave yourself hanging either, or having that pressure of I've got to pay rent this month, so I need to make money off of these photos that I'm taking. That puts
Yeah.
pressure on your relationship with a company. That's not a good way to start. you know so I think that's some really
Yeah.
good advice.
That's exactly right, man.
Yep. So with that, is there anything else you want to leave with the people?
I think that's it, man. It's a great podcast, dude. It was good to go back and think about those memories. If you guys listening took anything from this, I would say, don't be afraid to pursue your passions. Take that leap, and act like when you make moves, act like you're already in it. Act like you've already made that decision, and everything will flow like it should be.
Absolutely. And don't go hunt with Eric Chesser. Okay.
Don't sign up for that because you'll remember it forever.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate your time today, Logan. It's been a blast getting to know you a little bit better, and I look forward to working with you over at Ollin and getting to know you even more, as Ollin continues to grow, and we continue to
Definitely.
grow here at the podcast. So thanks so much. And guys out there, look, I'm going to leave the links down below where you can find Ollin. You can find the Nexus system, the Snapshot system, whatever it may be. It's going to be a great opportunity for you to snag either stocking stuffers or a gift for your spouse or partner or friends for Christmas. Definitely go check out the Ollin system. Go check out Logan's work. Definitely go watch that video of him and Eric Chesser walking through like Elmer Fudd in the meadow and killing that 370 bull. We really do need to create a reel like that where you've got just a little clip of him walking, like, slow walking and, dub over the Elmer Fudd voice. Throw the little fancy cap on him like the Elmer Fudd hat. And
yeah, there's even a part where he like looks back at me while he's holding his rifle, and it's so silly. The film is called The Return. You guys will enjoy it.
Yeah, and I've watched this. Really good. It really is. But just knowing the behind the scenes now, definitely go check it out, and you'll have a whole different perspective of that video. So with all that being said, guys, have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you so much for tuning in, and of course, get out, live your life, and love it.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed that episode with Logan. He has some amazing stories. He told some here today, has even more to tell. So definitely go follow along with Logan's story as he's in Ollin. He also, again, just a young dude grinding it out, has worked with some amazing companies and people in the past and is doing an even more amazing job now as he continues to progress and has learned and compiles all that knowledge that he has learned through the years. I'm super stoked to have had him on the podcast. Thank you so much, Logan, for that time. Now, guys, if you want to get entered, do not forget to get entered in on this giveaway. It is a full bow package, Alpha X33 with gray riser, black limbs, Hamsky Epsilon rest, dialed Arxos sight, a quiver, the Go Sticks, dozen arrows, 2 sets of strings, and the first Phorm snack pack of energy drinks, meat sticks, and protein bars. If you want to get all of that, the first entry is free. Simply subscribe to the channel, enter your information in the link down below so I can call the winner live on YouTube in the first week of January. This giveaway goes just through the end of the year, guys. So at midnight Mountain Standard Time, December 31st, it's over. So get entered. If you want bonus entries, go over to First Phorm with the link down below, and every $10 spent gets you an extra entry. Every $20 spent at Wild Arrow, if you're local, go and support them. They are an amazing bow shop. Go and support them. Every $20 spent there in store is going to get you an extra entry as well. So you buy a bow, that's like 60 entries plus. So go check it out, guys. Thank you so much for your support. Really excited to end 2024 with you guys. The growth that the channel has seen here on YouTube, the podcast, Instagram, everything. Thank you so much for the support. Now let's start 2025 off with a bang. Have a fantastic day. And as always, get out, live your life, and love it.